make sure you scan back in so that we can count you for that directors, because we're not going to break. We're going to go straight into it. I'll announce this a little later, but we've changed up our schedule just a little bit. Last year and years previous, the directors would break and go to lunch and have a closed directors meeting. And this year, the executive committee decided that they wanted to open the directors meeting up to members so that can listen in if there's any business for both sessions, today and on Monday. So we're going to have an open directors meeting and then break for lunch. Well, welcome back again. We'll convene this portion of our membership meeting, the business side. And at this point, at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Chief Financial Officer, Head of our operations back home in Amarillo, Mr. Trent Taylor, to give us our financial report. Trent?
Thank you, Craig, and good morning. It's my privilege to share both financial and statistical information with you this morning. 2016 was a very busy year. The industry and the association continues to stabilize for now 4 years of basically lateral movement. We've made significant steps toward building for the future, but we still have a journey before us. First, let's begin with the financials. The external factors like investment markets and interest rates continue to affect our financials, but I plan to show you how the operations have held steady. I will present today from the consolidated financial statements, the complete audit report. It's also included in the annual report and individually on the website. In addition, directors receive quarterly financial statements to keep them informed on financial status of AQHA, so they have that information to pass along to you, the members. Please keep in mind, in order to be in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, these audited financial statements are a consolidation of the association, the foundation, the incentive fund, the racing challenge, ARC, and RGP, even though we account for all of these as separate companies. Our auditors, Moss Adams, is one of the 15 largest accounting firms in the United States. More importantly, they have a large nonprofit practice, and having that expertise is very helpful as we move forward with our strategic plans. The audit was presented to your audit committee, which is made up of the executive committee and the investment oversight council. The auditors found no deficiencies or weaknesses in our internal control structure, and no adjustments were made to the financials as a result of the audit. We received an unmodified or clean opinion. Let's begin with a look at the consolidated statement of position, the first financial in the audit. The total consolidated assets are $93,238,683, compared to $96,632,667 last year. The largest change from the previous year is the decrease in investments of almost $3.5 million. Property and equipment increased almost $1 million as we continue to invest in our infrastructure. All other assets stayed relatively consistent. One of the biggest areas of our financial position is our investments. AQHA began working with Monroe Voss Consulting Group 16 years ago. Our representative, Tim Voss, is Vice Chairman and Director of Research for Monroe Voss. As shown on this chart, the total investments account for almost $70 million under his supervision. And it's broken down to these funds as of September 30th, 2016, with the amounts for the foundation broken down further by fund. AQHA represents 33%, the various funds of the foundation represent 51%, the incentive fund 7%, and the racing challenge 5%. We owe a big thank you to the executive committee and especially to the Investment Oversight Council for their long-term approach and dedication to making the most of our investments. To break down the total consolidated assets of over $93.2 million, we see the association at $38 million, the foundation at $47.6 million, incentive fund at $4.8 million, and racing challenge at $2.8 million. The current liabilities were down almost $2 million to $28,572,502. The liabilities for the pension fund increased almost $8 million, and I'll discuss this further in a moment. If we subtract the total liabilities, which includes payables, deferred revenue of all the incentive fund and racing challenge funds to be paid out in future years, this leaves the consolidated net assets of $52,167,000. To break down net assets by entity, we can see the association makes up $5.8 million. This is a number that if you were running a business would be the equity in a for-profit business. And the foundation comprises $17.8 million in unrestricted assets, almost $2.9 million in temporarily restricted assets, and $25.6 million in permanently restricted assets. The temporarily and permanently restricted net assets all relate to the foundation's donor restricted contributions. Next, we will look at the consolidated statement of activities. Total unrestricted revenues increased from $46,037,391 to $47,493,476. On a positive note, total revenues have remained fairly level for the past 5 years. I think it's important to note the huge decrease that we received, or that we've had, over $10 million since 2008. Again, these numbers reflect total consolidated revenues from the association, foundation, RGP, ARC, incentive fund, and racing challenge, all based upon the audit. And to break these numbers down from the audit, most income areas were comparable to the previous year. Incentive fund and racing challenge income is the total amount of cash paid out for those programs during the year. We see these amounts also included on the expense side. If we break income down into a pie chart, it shows we have a variety of sources and no one source is predominant. The operating expenses increased 0.4% to $50,332,650. We continue to look at ways to reduce expenses, evaluate programs, but yet still maintain the level of customer service our members have come to expect. Returning back to the consolidated audit, here are the operating expenses broken down by program area. Most areas stayed fairly consistent with the prior year. This pie chart shows the breakdown of expenses by program area, which we are required to do by the General Accepted Accounting Principles. These are the significant areas that we have identified. The programs include multiple departments and services that we provide to our members. Volatility in the market's a big factor in the financial position again this year. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Chart from October of 2015 through December of 2016, and I want you to notice the big change in the markets since the end of our fiscal year on September 30th. This gives us a decrease in unrestricted net assets from operations of $2,839,174. These amounts do not include any investment income approved for operations as shown on the quarterly director statements. The investment returns continue to play an important part in both 2013 and 2014. We reported over $4 million in gain. You'll remember last year we had a sharp drop in the investment markets in September of 2015, causing the loss for a year. And now I'm going to borrow Sandy's box and get on my soapbox for a minute. Our pension plan, we froze back in 2003, but if you'll remember, it continues to have an impact on our financial statements. Last year, the pension actuarial loss was directly related to the loss of investment balances just before 9/30. This year, it's a result of the falling interest rates. The pension liability is the only liability that we have to record for future years. This involves using an interest rate or discount rate for an actuarial calculation. This year, that rate dropped 1.1%, which makes the liability even more volatile than the markets. Since September 30th, these rates have increased back 0.7%, which add income back to the income statement for the current year. For next year, it's going to look a lot better. Along with that increase, we have seen in the investment market. So the bottom line is Though the $8 million actuarial loss is only a paper loss that we're required to report, we've almost completely made it back up over the past 5 months. When combined with other activities, we have a decrease in unrestricted net assets of $9,335,437. The quarterly Board of Director financials is different from the audit because the association is presented individually and with the alternative presentation of investment income for operations. It's the same numbers, just presented in different views. The temporarily and permanently restricted net assets all relate to the Foundation's donor restricted contributions. Temporarily restricted net assets decreased $412,607. The total increase in permanently restricted net assets of $616,035 added to the decrease in unrestricted net assets and temporarily restricted income brings us to a decrease of just over $9 million. And please remember, almost $8 million of that is a paper loss on the pension that we've already made up. This brings us to a consolidated net asset of $52,167,997. The consolidated statements of cash flow is the third financial statement in the audit. It reflects an overall decrease in cash flow of $1,197,102. And please remember the footnotes are of the audit are a significant portion of the audit, and they can be reviewed on AQHA's website. Now on to other things. Many have asked about the status of our computer initiative. As you recall, we selected Dell Technologies to move our IT functionality forward. Dell Services was purchased by NTT Data last November, and they have more than doubled the team working on our project and are committed to giving us a quality product with on-time delivery dates. We are currently in the final phases of development, and I am pleased to report that we're making significant progress as we begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Please remember, this will be our technological foundation for the future. Please keep in mind our IT resources are already overloaded and may not be able to make the changes in the time frame you would like. So please be realistic as you look at your agenda items, especially if they require any IT changing. And I'm pleased to say we're almost there. We're getting very, very close, but rest assured, you won't see it until it's ready. For a complete breakdown of all the member stats, transfers, registrations, and the audit, you can look at the annual report online. ARC, or Award Recognition Concepts, continues to be a valuable tool for our association. Last year alone, AQHA was able to save over $600,000 throughout the year for the awards as if we had purchased it from an outside vendor. Because of the tremendous growth of ARC, we moved the business to a separate entity. It is still wholly owned by AQHA, and the proceeds continue to support the programs of AQHA. In addition, we continue to secure other business from other associations, banks, insurance companies, and many others. Last year, ARC brought in an additional $800,000 in revenue for the association. We expect ARC to continue to grow and be an additional revenue source for the association for many years to come. RGP gives the association a unique opportunity to not only promote our quarter horse in ways that we never have, but also gives us the opportunity to create another revenue source for the association. With over $1 billion in earnings recorded, RGP has many performance records that are not included on the official AQHA records. And now you can get your AQHA points on the RGP records. It's the first time in history that a complete information of a horse is available from one resource. I'm also very excited about the RGP Catalog Builder. If you haven't gone out to check it out, I encourage you to do so. More Catalog Builder pedigree types and catalog layout options will be available later this year. RGP will continue to provide horsemen with comprehensive electronic tools to promote, market, and evaluate their American quarter horses. While we ended 2016 with a 2.6 loss in membership, we're excited about the potential and future growth as we work to create value propositions. Opportunities like rodeo events, roping, and barrel racing are seeing continued growth. We also see a great opportunity to increase involvement with the recreational owners by refreshing and relaunching programs like the horseback riding program with new prizes and an app to make logging hours easier. We closed out the year with 115,864 transfers. I think it's important to look at the leveling that we've seen over the past 4 years, as well as the membership and the registrations. We had an increase in registrations from the prior year to 75,904. The number of registrations came in higher than projected, which is a positive note for our breeding segment of our industry. While we did receive fewer stallion breeding reports in 2016, there was an increase in the number of mares reported. This increase indicates that we should see a slight increase in registration for the applications received in 2017. We've seen the increase in the average mares bred per stallion over the past few years. 6.5 is the highest average that we've seen in 30-plus years since we began tracking these statistics. But do notice the leveling of the number of mares bred over the past 4 years. I think it's important to look at these trends. This represents the number of stallions broken down by the number of mares they bred. Please note that the number of stallions in the group breeding 10 to 24 mares had the largest increase this year. Please remember these are not static groups. They changed from year to year. There are exciting things happening in our show area. We had an increase in the total number of entries, with increases in youth novice and youth entries leading the way. Combined shows and special event entries reached 925,937. The incentive fund has been a hot topic the past few weeks, and I'd like to take a minute to provide some background on the recent changes. The program began in 1983 with the first nominations and grew dramatically over the next 2 decades. The secret to the success of the grassroots involvement was the large number of horses that were nominated each year. Over the next decade, our industry declined, so did the number of horses nominated, and subsequently the available funds for the incentive fund in addition, we continued to add multiple classes that dramatically increased the number of points. In the last 10 years, discussions by task forces, committees, and they began looking at ways to change the incentive fund and take it back to its glory days. For 4 years, the license fees were implemented and had a negative effect on the fund. Many felt additional changes were necessary. Working through the various task forces, committees, and councils, a new point cap of the average number of points plus 1 was announced in September of 2015. The full cycle of these changes were seen in the checks that were delivered a few weeks ago. The goal of the change was to reward the grassroots folks in our show industry in order to encourage more nominations. The payout this year paid out more to 82% of the exhibitors over the prior year, and more to 88% of the exhibitors than if we hadn't had a cap at all. The incentive fund is still one of the largest, highest point values of all incentive-type programs. Our ranching segment is still booming. Qualifiers for the VRH World Show next week are up 50%. In addition, the inaugural Ranch Horse Finals have 327 qualifiers, resulting in 133 entries. Some great news in racing. The average purse per race and average earnings per starter for American quarter horses ticked up for the second year in a row. We're up again by 73 races in 3-year-old races, and we're also up in 2-year-old races by 61 races. Both had an increase in gross purses by age. We were up 3 additional tracks during 2016 and received requests from an additional 8 tracks in 2017. In summary, while our financials are showing the stress of external factors and the reduction of our dependence on investment earnings, we must continue to evaluate our programs to ensure we are providing relevant services to our members in a most financially responsible manner. Our industry is leveling off with 4 years of consistent numbers, and overall, in 2016, even with the ups and downs, it was another leap forward, and we have great things to look forward to in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Trent. I know you all found that very informative and easy to follow. It's now time to welcome Craig Huffines back to the podium to give his second address as your Executive Vice President.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Well, good morning again. And, you know, when the coach is up here, you have to take good notes. And I took one, and I circled it, and he said, we must constantly be looking for excellence. And, you know, we're a business, whether you're in the competition business or whether you're providing customer service, where striving for excellence matters. And so we're going to talk about some of those things, and I see some of our corporate partners down here in the front row, and I know your companies embrace that same excellence and that same challenge to provide the best products and services to our membership. And so I want to thank you all for that partnership. We're going to introduce you and bring you up on the stand up here a little bit later, but we're going to talk about excellence today and what we're striving to do as an organization. If you tee up my slides there. Taking the romance of a 19th century industry into the 21st century business culture. And that's what we're attempting to do. And you know, that 19th century romance is what attracts us to this business. And what a pleasure and a privilege it is to be a part of that and hold on to that history and that heritage. But you know, as an organization, we've got to migrate, and we're working to migrate very quickly. And I want to say that the folks that I've had the privilege to work with as your executive committee members have embraced this, and let me tell you, they're full charged, they're holding us accountable, and they're pushing us forward as a team. And I've enjoyed seeing our staff engaged with this executive committee and moving this big rudder forward. So thank you, Executive Committee, for your support and for your challenging us to be a better organization. We're a global membership. We talked this morning that there are 23 countries represented here this morning. And Trent just mentioned to you, we're down just a skosh, 2.7% in membership, a little over 253,000 members. But I want to challenge you to see that it's actually more than that, because we have a churn. We have about a 30% churn annually, and members going out of the system and then maybe coming back the next year or 3 years later. So truly, if you wanted to look at the scope of this membership, you know, it's closer to, you know, 350,000 members because of that churn. But actually, it's really a community even larger than that. Because if you were to look at how many people touch us on a daily basis, there's nearly a million folks who have liked our Facebook page. Those are folks that are just interested in what our industry is all about. And we also know that there's some 800,000 folks that actually own today a quarter horse. And so our community is much greater, much larger. And of course, our responsibility to serve this greater, larger industry goes even beyond the 54,000 members. 500,000 folks receive some information from us on a weekly and monthly basis. They've either signed up for a newsletter, they've requested some sort of information, but they are directly connected to us on a daily basis. And these are the folks that I think our corporate partners are really interested in, because it's more than the folks that are paying dues every year. It goes beyond that. And so this year we've been looking at ways in which we can engage these folks, both internally as members and externally, to try to grow this organization and have them be a part. The Parthenon was built, and you all recognize that, 2,500 years ago by the Greeks on the Acropolis of Athens, way up so they could scout out and understand where their enemies were. It was also a place of worship. Their goddess Athena was the goddess of wisdom, strategic defense, and the crafts. Now, our craft is obviously the horse, and our craft is obviously servicing our horse industry. We're trying to be strategic about it, and we're trying to get all the wisdom we can gather from you, our membership. And so if you look at those pillars, you know, pillars are used as an acronym for business. And we've tried to create our own pillars, which is going from our foundation up, which really defines our values. So I want to talk to you about 5 values that we've identified this past year. One being animal welfare, and you heard our president talk a whole lot about what we're trying to do to protect our horse, number 1. Number 2 is customer satisfaction. What are we doing to try to get your turnaround quickly, to be friendly, and to create services so that you feel like you're a part of this community and that you're happy with the way we're serving you? Number 3, communication. Communication. Are we getting information to you timely? Can you find it timely? And are you satisfied with the way in which we're speaking to you and speaking for your needs? Culture. Are we inclusive? Are we including people that maybe aren't members, but we're trying to invite them into our organization? Or are we closing off our doors? Are we going to open this culture up and expand it? And finally, education. We're all hungry. We're all hungry for education because there's a lot to know about this industry. There's a lot to know about the products that support this industry. And there's a lot of rules with regard to protecting our horse and the different programs that we provide. So those are our 5 pillars of excellence that we feel are underpinning. And as you look, there are business focuses there down the right that we're really honing in on to support those 5 pillars: technology, business development, foundation growth, youth development, operational efficiencies, future innovations, and member engagement. Big words, but from a business standpoint, it's really how are we going to get this ship rudder kind of turned and really up on another plane? And that's what we've been working on this past year. It started with these folks. I introduced them to you last year, Trent and Chad and Lauren, Robin, my right hand there in the corner office. Of course, we added Kim last year over ranching. We've got Pete, what a super guy he is, professional horseman and professional person, and then Carl over publications. And of course, we've added more folks this year. Of course, Janet, you've already heard the introductions from Sandy. Janet, Patty was elevated over judging. Of course, Katie and JC and Anna bring a whole wealth of energy back into our program. And of course, if you haven't met these lovely ladies there here on the bottom, they're the ladies that we brought in to help our foundation development in raising money and organizing the foundation. And we're really proud of the team that we brought in to add energy and support to a lot of these new programs. So Henry Ford, he once said, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd just say, I want a faster horse. Well, we want both. We want a faster horse and we want a faster car. But to get the faster car, we've got to do some planning. And so that's what we've been doing this year, strategically planning. So I'm going to take you through some of the highlights, and I'm going to give you a little bit of overview of what Trent about told you, and that was what do we expect out of this big computer system, and how far do we want it to take us. Customer satisfaction, one of our main pillars. Modernize that Equus 4.0 system. And y'all have heard it for many years. It's been a challenge. I'm telling you, it's a big challenge. We have a go-live strategy that we hope to launch in September. We're in the 4th quarter, folks. We're in the 4th quarter. There have been 13 massive iterations, and we're in the last 3. And they're probably the most challenging. They have to do with award systems and the way we track awards on horses and members. They have to do with leveling, and they have to do with our member site. So there's a whole lot of work left to do. So we have a team in Amarillo, about 10 or 12 folks in our IT department. There's a team in Vancouver, Canada, with about 10 or 12 database developers using all of their resources to take 75 years of data and make sense of it. And then there's about 60 to 65 programmers in Bangalore, India. Now think about that. Different time zones and different cultures. And we've got Texans talking to Indians every day in our office. And that can be interesting. That can be interesting. But I think Kim McKinney's doing a great job. She's leading the testing of the project. She's really working hard. You bet. Kim and Tim Callahan, head of our IT department, Tammy Canada, Tammy Garrison, I mean, they're all hands on deck, and they're testing this product as we go. And that challenge of communicating what we need to folks in India is a challenge. And y'all know why we're there, because we can do it for half the cost in India. Some of it's getting done over here, but a lot of it's getting done over there with programmers that are much less expensive. I also want to talk to you about web design. Many of you have read in the 440 the last couple of weeks that we do understand the fact that our current website is not up to par. We understand that. And so we've hired a company called Base 22 that's currently gathering information, hosting focus groups with not only our super users, many of you out in the audience. They're also talking to our international partners, and they're talking to our corporate partners about, what are the things that are important to a website to interact business to business and to communicate with you, our membership, better. That's going to be a big project, and we're hoping to get some quick wins to update the current site as we're building that new site over the course of the year and a half. We've hired a data analytics company, Umble, out of Austin, Texas, to really mine our membership data. And y'all probably don't want to hear this, but if you're a big social media person, you have a token on your account, and they can track what you look at and what you like. So if you like diamond rings and fancy things, we're going to find out. And so if you like Neutrina feed or a Ford pickup truck or a John Deere tractor, or if you need one, we're going to find out. And so using that big data analytics, we're going to try to customize your experience with us on our website and try to put you together with one of our corporate partners when it's time for you to make a purchase. And so that's some futuristic things that we're trying to create that'll enhance your membership experience. So we're not asking, according to Ford. Animal welfare has been a big one, and of course, hair testing was a big issue. And under Janet Van Beber this year, we were able to implement the very first hair testing requirement as a condition of racing for our Challenge Championship. We did this on a pretty short string and a really short time frame. But boy, what a message that sent to the industry. And I want to thank our racing council, our racing committee for endorsing this, for making this move forward. And when we did this, it created a buzz. And that buzz opened up doors to commissions, particularly our top 5 quarter horse racing commissions. And Janet's talking to them on a regular basis. We've had a meeting with them in Austin or in Arizona, Tucson meetings this year, where we actually discussed what we think our industry should look like. A vet list which will sideline those horses which have tested positive. A vet list that will be shared from state to state, and get serious about the medication situation in our racehorsing environment. So we're really pleased with the strides we are making on animal welfare. We've also restructured our welfare and governance department under Chad Pierce. Really happy to say that Ward and Chad work arm in arm in expediting these cases that are hard decisions that Sandy talked about, and we're pushing those through as quickly as possible. The Animal Welfare Grievance Committee, it's kind of a grand jury that was developed this year to expedite the review process of when these cases come in, so we're not holding them up. Again, an effort to rapidly protect the horse. And of course, the PAC Fund program, where we're trying to raise funds, $250,000 last year. We hope to build that this year, build that war chest so that we can go after and influence and create relationships with many of our congressmen and senators as it relates to our special interest, our interest as a quarter horse industry. Communication. Obviously we're relaunching our affiliate workshop. We're really excited to have many of you come into Amarillo so we can talk shop, talk business, strategy on how we can help you at the regional level. We've established these communication blogs for more transparency to let you know what's going on back in the office and around the country. And of course, our social media program has been tremendous. And just recently, this last year, we won a significant award and cut the top 5 associations in the country for social media plan. And that includes all of our Facebook, our Instagram, and the list goes on. So we're very proud of our social media program. Culture of business development. You know, outside revenue is always good for an association if you can create the right value proposition. And I was really happy as I came on board to see that there were subsidiaries that actually provide goods and services that were unrelated income. And this awards recognition concept program is dynamite. They had 23% growth this year, 2.3 million gross in sales, with two major accounts. The Arabian Horse Association and the United Kennel Club have come on board. We're not only servicing them their trophies, but their apparel line as well at the American Arabian Horse Association. What does that do? That pays for our trophies. You know, we've got over $1 million worth of trophies that we distribute annually, and I really, really appreciate the efforts and the opportunity that's ahead of us in building up this company. Robin Glenn Pedigree, bless her heart, she's one of the hardest working women I've ever met, as dedicated as anyone I've ever met at getting data right on the horses in competition. And she has launched a wonderful product that those who are in sale management, or if you're hosting a sale this year, whether it's a ranch horse sale or whatever, she has created a dynamic sales catalog builder that reduces labor cost exponentially. And I think this is going to really serve the industry well, Robin, and we're very, very proud of your innovations at Robin Glenn Pedigree. Customer satisfaction, again, as y'all all know, Jim Hunt has done just an outstanding job of leading our ranch committee, our ranching council. We've added people to that from the show side and from the ranching heritage side. We revamped and repurposed our Best Remuda program, and we tied it in with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. We are growing this Versatility Ranch Horse and Ranching Heritage Challenge Championship like no other. The entries are overloading Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo for the championship that's happening next weekend. And absolutely, we're having to look for other alternative venues for hosting that championship. And we interviewed many of you last year to try to decide what's the best time of year for hosting that event and where should we host it. We really are excited about the growth that we're seeing in this ranch program. We also saw, as Trent mentioned, numbers of entries improve across the board, particularly in Level 1 and Level 2. We added that Central Level 1 championship, and so this is the gateway. This is the gateway entry of our novice folks and getting into our business, and those numbers are growing. What a great idea. This year we're going to look at Level 1 and Level 2 leveling and see if we can tune it up a little bit. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand for some, but we're going to take a look at that. But needless to say, regardless of its complexity, it's working. It's a fabulous program to get novice in. We did allow this year the Level 2 select world exhibitors to also show in the Open World Show. So we just thought that was a great idea. Many of you can't show enough. We'd like to see you in both championships, and so we were proud to do that. And of course, with Anna coming on in a very, very short period of time, we've been working with our folks in Latin America. We've talked to our friends in Canada and in Europe about how we can really make these services easier for you. Maybe down the road, putting together a portal, some sort of web portal where registrations can be downloaded and printed in your backyard, and we're not relying on your mail service to lose that product as it goes back and forth. So we're going to be working on innovation in that area in the coming year. Education and recruitment. We've added some dynamite young people in Katie and JC to head up our youth development team, as mentioned before. I can't say enough for this Ranching Heritage Breeder Program. They gave away 56 young horses young colts to teenagers this year to get them engaged. That program has a lot of legs to it, and we feel like that's going to be a program we can grow and advance. We also added to the foundation development staff because we believe we're going to need more funding. We're going to need a lot more funding to fund this youth initiative. And I imagine we may be talking to some corporate partners about how we can partner in doing that as well in the coming months. So with that, I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. We like our pillars, we like our values, and we like our business technology that's trying to help underpin that. And we are very proud of the team that we've assembled back in Amarillo. 2 weeks ago, it was 243 employees, and we just added 2 this week. with Justin and Karen. So with that, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much.
As I've said so many times today and this week, I have thoroughly enjoyed working with Craig, and I appreciate his dedication and service to the AQHA as our EVP. Thank you for moving us toward the future and for sharing your vision. We appreciate you and all that you're doing for the association. As you know, AQHA works very closely with the American Horse Council, and it is my pleasure to welcome our next speaker, Julie Broadway, current president of the American Horse Council, and she will give us her update. As a native of North Carolina, Ms. Broadway began her passion for horses as a child in 4-H camp, which bloomed into recreational riding, showing, breeding, and serving in leadership roles for a variety of equine organizations and chairing various horse shows. After 25 years with a Fortune 500 company, Ms. Broadway served as COO of a small tech firm for a few years and then moved to the nonprofit sector and served on several boards and in leadership roles. Most recently, she was the executive director of the American Morgan Horse Association for 9 years. In addition to serving as president of the American Horse Council, she is currently the board chair of the Professional Association for Therapeutic Horsemanship, PATH International. She and her husband, along with their 2 Pembroke Welsh Corgis, currently reside in Weston, Virginia. We know we're going to like her because she's got the right kind of dog. Julie, there you are.
Well, good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Sandy, and to the board for the opportunity to come and speak with you. What I'd like to do is take a few minutes to better acquaint you with the American Horse Council, and then I want to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that we have underway, including some plans to update our National Economic Impact Study. So let's give a little background first. The American Horse Council was formed in 1969. It has 3 specific purposes. The first is to ensure the long-term viability of the equine industry by presenting its interest to Congress and regulatory agencies. To unify the equine industry by educating and informing the industry on legislative and regulatory matters. And to keep the industry and its contributions at the forefront of everyone's mind. This is really critical to the long-term success of the industry because what happens in Washington affects you, it affects your sport, and it affects your horses. Because we need to influence what happens in Washington to prevent adverse effects, and we need to influence it to ensure that we get positive change and leave open avenues and opportunities for the industry. Now, you may wonder, who is the American Horse Council? There it goes. The council is composed of over 700 individual members and over 150 organizational members. Their interests range from trail riding, polo, jumping, rodeo, racing, and the list goes on. It's a very diverse group with a broad range of challenges and issues. Now, this is the thing that appealed to me about this job. Many of you met my predecessor, Jay Hickey. He was at the American Horse Council for 27 years. And when he decided to retire, I thought this sounded like a wonderful opportunity and a great challenge. Unlike Craig and Sandy, my staff is small, but we're a really mighty group. If you have not had the opportunity, please come to DC and visit with us. Our Senior VP of Policy and Legislative Affairs is Ben Pendergrass. Our Director of Communications is Ashley First. Jennifer Purcell is our Director of the Unwanted Horse Coalition. Cliff Williamson is our Director of Health and Regulatory Affairs. And Christy Schulte is the Program Manager for Time to Ride. And I think Christy may be here, looking around. Christy is coming, so at some point you will have an opportunity to chat with her. We are also very blessed to have a wonderful board of directors. Dr. Jerry Black from Colorado State University is our chair. And I think you will see some familiar faces who represent the American Quarter Horse Association. Of course, Craig is not only on the board, he's on our executive committee. But you see Dr. Glenn Blodgett, and you'll see Dr. Tom Lentz, who I think many of you know, and Johnny Trotter on there. We can really boil down the American Horse Council's focus into 5 key areas: advocacy, protection and preservation, sustainability and growth, membership support and services, which includes education, and then marketing and administration. Of course, our primary focus is in the area of advocacy, and the American Horse Council works at every level in Washington to ensure policymakers in Congress, the administration, and federal agencies are aware of the needs of the industry and how legislation and regulation will impact the industry. Last year alone, we tackled over 20 different legislative issues. A few examples of some of those are shown here: 3-year depreciation of racehorses, H-2B immigration legislation, the Market Access Program, the National Trails Program, funding for equine health, which ensures critical positions are filled at USDA to be able to respond effectively to equine disease outbreaks, and USDA disaster programs. This is done to ensure horse breeding farms are eligible for emergency funding and technical assistance after natural disasters. Yep, there we go. The next area that I mentioned was protection and preservation. The AHC serves to facilitate close working relationships with a number of organizations that focus on equine health. Here are a few examples: the Equine Infectious Anemia Discussion Group, the Prevent All Soaring Tactics Act, the Horse Protection Act, and the National Equine Health Plan. An essential part of the National Equine Health Plan is the Equine Disease Communication Center. This is an industry-wide program to help improve horse health, decrease the risk of disease spread, and prevent economic losses from infectious diseases. I've referenced the website here and strongly encourage you to download that and look at that frequently, because it'll tell you what's going on across the country. We are also very proud of the Unwanted Horse Coalition, which strives to educate the public on responsible ownership and reduce the number of unwanted horses by partnering with aftercare programs and offering Operation Gelding clinics and now voucher programs. In the area of sustainability and growth, the American Horse Council serves as a clearinghouse for equine tax information. We publish our very popular tax handbook and tax tips. We put out tax bulletins, which are invaluable to horse owners and CPAs, as they include changes in the tax code and updates on recent court cases. If you are not familiar, I encourage you to become more familiar with our new program, Time to Ride. This seeks to grow the industry and the love of equestrian sports. Now in its 3rd year, we have exposed over 90,000 new people to horses, and we've given away over $300,000 in cash and prizes. This program is done by asking farms to host events, and by bringing new people into their barn, they become eligible for cash prizes and awards. It's really easy to get involved and very easy to sign up. One of the things I'm most excited about since I've been at the American Horse Council is that we're leveraging our relationship with the American Recreation Coalition, which is made up of industries that promote recreation and the great outdoors. Members of ARC include the hiking, boating, camping industries, and of course, horseback trail riding is an important component of that. We work very closely with the coalition to highlight the benefits of human-horse relations and trail riding. They were a strong partner for us when we worked on the National Trails Bill, and now that we have a new Secretary of Interior, we've been working very closely to educate him on infrastructure needs that are in the parks and on trails. This is probably the most important thing I'll mention, so if you walk away with anything, please take this. This year, we're going to embark on a new economic impact study. It has been 10 years since the last study was done. This study captures not only the economic effects of all segments of the horse industry, it provides invaluable demographic data and insights into the professions and related industries that are impacted by equine ownership. This is the book that everybody references when they talk about how big the industry is and what the implications of the industry are. This study enables us to educate the public, the media, and elected officials in Congress and state legislatures regarding the industry's economic size, impact, and importance. The national study cost us $400,000 to do, and we've been undergoing a campaign to raise money to have that study started. I'm very pleased to say that we have signed the contract and the study will begin on April the 1st. We're still a little short of our fundraising goal, but we really appreciate the American Quarter Horse Association support and those of other people in the industry. We're also offering individual state breakout reports and custom breed or discipline reports. We currently have 11 states and 1 discipline report that have been commissioned. We hope to have those studies available in the fall of this year. Most importantly, I'm excited to expand upon the scope of the study this year. We're going to be collecting information about rescues in sanctuaries. We are also looking at equine-assisted therapy centers. We're digging deeper into demographic data, and the racing industry has asked us to divide the thoroughbred and the standardbred industry so they have a better breakout. Very excited about that. If you have any questions, please feel free to see me. I'm here through Monday. In the area of membership support and services, we really take seriously our role in providing education and marketing to the industry. Much like AQHA, we offer that in a number of different ways. We have legislative updates, we have information sessions, and a lot of educational content that we put out through webinars. We work very closely with the American Youth Horse Council, with the Coalition of State Horse Councils, and we offer our annual conference. If you're not familiar with it, quarterly we offer a webinar. We just completed our last one, which was on climate change. We had a speaker from NOAA who came on and shared with us what climate change is doing around the country and what the implications of that are on the equine industry. You'll find a recording of that on our website, and you're welcome to go back and listen to it. Our next webinar is on May the 15th, and our guest speaker is Elizabeth McMillan. She's the CEO of EquestrianProfessional.com, and she's going to be talking to people about how to grow your business, offering tips and suggestions on how to use social media and other things to do to grow your horse business. I would also like to invite you to join us for our conference in June. It's June the 11th through 14th in Washington, D.C. Our keynote speaker this year is Roger Dow. He is the CEO of the U.S. Travel Association. He says that the Travel Association for many years was like the Rodney Dangerfield of the industries, and he's done a lot of work to unite that industry and really make its presence known, and he's going to share his experiences about that and talk about what we can do in the equine industry to gain greater recognition. We are going to have an equine research panel. We have 6 researchers that are going to speak, and one of those is representing AQHA. We have a youth panel with 6 youth from various organizations, and I believe Brock is going to come and represent AQHA at that panel. We will hear an update on the National Economic Impact Study, on the Equine Health Plan, biosecurity, microchipping. I'm racking my brain. We've got a laundry list of topics. Information is up on our website. I encourage you to register and come and join us for that. So in closing, most groups that I speak to ask me the question about what I think is going to be happening in Washington in the coming months. And that's a really tough question to answer. We are very fortunate that we usually have bipartisan support for many of the issues that impact us. Many members of Congress have connections to the industry, either from a personal experience growing up with horses or because their industry is important to their state or their district. For that reason, regardless of what party is in charge in Washington, the industry has allies that we can turn to. But regardless of that, it's important that members of Congress and the administration hear from the horse industry. We'll be doing our part in D.C., but I want to impress upon you the importance of also letting them hear from you, the constituents. We always believe that it's important for equestrians to contact your officials, help to educate them about the issues that are important to you and important to the horse industry, to your states and your districts. I thank you for your time and your support of the American Horse Council, And we are your voice in Washington, so please let me know what your thoughts and issues are. We are going to be starting on a new strategic plan the first part of April, and many of the things Craig talked about that you've been working on, I'm certain will appear on our list as well. You'll hear an update on that plan in June at our conference. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome to the head of American Horse Council. We're pleased to have you there, and I can tell you she's been tremendous at communicating with all of the breed associations and, of course, the board and the executive committee of Horse Council. You've done a great job already. Thank you, Julie. As Sandy mentioned in her president address, AQHA affiliates are the industry's grassroots network that provides local leadership opportunities, equestrian events, and member programs for horse enthusiasts of all ages, all levels, and riding interests. This year we'll be conducting the Go, Know, Grow. That's right, Go, Know, and Grow AQHA Affiliate Workshop in Amarillo. That's May 22nd and 23rd. AQHA staff and the Affiliate Advisory Board have been working diligently for several months to make this possibility and continue to work toward making this a very successful event. And that's part of our local engagement. We want to get them back to Amarillo and brainstorm. So with that, I'm excited to be able to share a word from the workshop's keynote speaker.
Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great convention in San Antonio. My name is Clint Swindoll and I have the privilege of being your keynote speaker at your upcoming affiliate workshop in Amarillo, Texas on May the 22nd and 23rd. This workshop is going to be all about taking your affiliate to a new level, with breakout groups and roundtable discussions on a variety of topics, including member growth, marketing, animal welfare, engaging youth, recreational riding, and a host of other topics. On the morning of May the 22nd, I will be doing a keynote presentation on the power of personal engagement. You don't want to miss this affiliate workshop. So register today at aqha.com, and I hope to see you in Amarillo on May the 22nd and May the 23rd.
All right, and in addition to Clint Swindoll, the workshop will include a variety of breakfast sessions and roundtable discussions, as he mentioned. We also invite everyone to stay after the affiliate workshop for the show management workshop on May 24th and 25th. Be sure to stop by the Political Action Committee reception tonight. That's tonight at 5:30 to 6:30 in the Republic Meeting Room. There will be live and silent auctions on some great items like a breeding to the Rock. Go check that stallion out. A Shorty's hat, stalls and entries to the Redbud Spectacular, Don Bell art, and other great items. So stop by and place your bid. We're wanting to burst back past that goal we had last year of $250,000, and we'll be doing that this year. I hope you'll join us to raise funds for AQHA's political action, ensuring AQHA's voice is heard in Washington, D.C. Our issues are as diverse as the people who own horses, and we need to support more members who support the horse industry, which is why your contributions are critical. If you can't attend and you want to support the PAC, we encourage you to make a contribution by picking up a donation form at the registration desk. If you donate $100 today or more, your name will be entered into a drawing to win a registration for two at next year's convention in Jacksonville, Florida. And I can tell you already, the plans are being made for Jacksonville, and it's going to be fun. So make sure you pledge your $100, put your name in the hat, and win two tickets to Jacksonville. I also want to remind all of you about our awards banquet tonight, where we'll recognize our year-end High Point winners, including our all-around horses. If you haven't already done so, stop by the reserved seating table at the registration area and make your seating arrangements for tonight's very special evening. And don't forget, you won't want to miss the biggest fiesta in San Antonio this week by attending the American Quarter Horse Foundation luncheon tomorrow at noon. Now, I'm not going to tip you off as to what's going on, but if it says fiesta, you can bet on it. It's going to be a fiesta, and we're going to raise some money tomorrow, folks. We're going to get pumped up and excited about supporting our foundation and the mission of this foundation. It is the heartbeat of our organization, and it's an opportunity to pour your heart and resources into funding some of the most remarkable causes of our industry. Be sure to purchase your ticket at the registration desk before they sell out, because you won't want to miss the opportunity to celebrate a great horse and a great foundation. Have any of y'all ever been to the Grand Ole Opry? Yeah? I kind of feel like that guy in the corner in between those acts right now. That's the most enjoyable part. It's old radio style. And now let's move on to some of the special presentations that we have, some of our very special guests, the folks who support our industry, and we're blessed to have companies who share our passion backing us. I welcome our partners and sponsors to the stage to be introduced. These partners contribute more than $7 million directly into the events and programs for all of you, the AQHA member. Let's meet the people who make it all happen. As I call your name, please step forward. Hold your applause, please, until we have introduced all our guests, and we'll just kind of ask you to come up this side here and mosey up around. There's going to be quite a few of you. From Adequan, Miss Darby Freeman, come on up. We've got AQHA Members Plus, Steve Driscoll, Jeff Birch. Also joining them is Ron Hubbard with Office Depot, part of Members Plus. You'll notice an Office Depot card in each of your chairs. Use the next time you need to make a purchase. Go buy some paper. Today, you've got you an Office Depot card. From Bank of America, Lynn Leonard, the lovely Lynn Leonard. From Farnham, we've got Martha Lefebvre, Kevin Oliver, Richard Godby, and Tina Anderson. From Ford, we have Emily Kilkline. Emily? Straight from Dearborn. From Markel Insurance Company, Pat Mullins and Shane Minix. From Montana Silversmith, Callie Adams and Steve Miller, the all-night cowboy at the NFR. And from Neutrina, Sharon Shoney. Sharon? From Smart Pack, Lisa Hines and Jamie Gullickson. And from Zoetis, Sally Antman and Susie Shields. We get them all on here? There's Sally. Sally and Susan. There we go. All right, folks. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to work with these folks to talk about not only our industry, how we achieve great things together as corporate partners and as a membership organization, and without them, we couldn't do it. We just frankly could not do it. They spend $7 million with us. And you all know, we just went over the budget, what that means to this organization. And so not only should we give them a big round of applause, but how about we reciprocate? When we need something, we go to them and we reciprocate by buying their great products and their great services. So with that, how about a round of applause for these sponsors? Thank you. Okay, we'll have you step off. Thank you all very much. Special group of people. We're going to ask a couple of them to come back because at this time we do some special presentations that are really nice for our organization. Since 2007, Neutrina has been an official nutrition partner of the AQHA. Neutrina offers a complete line of feeds designed to provide optimum nutrition for horses as well as their premium pet line called Loyal. Sharon Shoney is here with us this morning to present a check for $15,000 to the American Quarter Horse Foundation on behalf of the Professional Horsemen's Association. This donation is made possible through Neutrina's sponsorship of the Ride the Pattern clinics at the Built Ford Tough AQHYA, the Adequan Select, and the Lucas Oil World Championship shows. So how about that for Neutrina? Thank you, Sharon. And Bank of America. Bank of America has been the official financial service provider for the AQHA since 1993. Each time you use your AQHA Bank of America credit card or open a checking account, you're not only marketing the world's greatest horse, you're also making a contribution to AQHA and the foundation. Bank of America's dedication to your lifestyle and to the programs you enjoy is put on full display this morning as Lynn Leonard, the lovely Lynn, presents President Arledge a $45,000 check to the American Quarter Horse Foundation, which is part of their total annual commitment to our industry. How about that, Lynn? Thank you. $45,000. Thanks again to Bank of America. And Zoetis, that great health company who preside over the health and well-being of our animals. They're very important to us. Miss Sally Antman, representing Zoetis, is the official equine vaccine provider at AQHA. Zoetis will honor their dedication to keeping your horse healthy by contributing a check for $10,000 to the American Quarter Horse Foundation Equine Research Fund. Again, presenting the check on behalf of Zoetis, Sally Antman. Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. You know, as I mentioned, we couldn't do it without these partners. We just couldn't do it. Not only do they produce great products, services, they take care of the health of our horse, but they're putting money into our programs, and what a wonderful thing. Let's give another round of applause to all these partners who generously supported our programs. And now for the last, let's see here. And now for the last of our business today, the allocation of directors for 2017. AQHA's allocation of directors is based on the total number of living horses as of September 30th, 2016, which was 2,825,993. Per AQHA bylaws, these results in 150 annually elected directors representing the United States, Canada, Austria, Brazil, France, Germany, Italy, and Mexico. The allocation of international district directors allows for 11 directors, 7 representing Europe, 3 representing Mexico, South America, and Central America, and 1 representing Oceania and all the other international countries. Unfilled vacancies this year exist in Kansas, Maine, Mississippi, Montana, Oregon, Texas, Washington State, West Virginia, and Alberta, Quebec, and Mexico. In addition to the annually elected directors, there are 24 past presidents, 33 honorary vice presidents, 80 directors at large, and 44 directors emeriti. Ron Smith, elevating to director at large, created a position available in Georgia. With Rick Bailey elevating to director emeritus, there's an opening in the state of Iowa. Paul Treadwell's elevation to director emeritus made a second position available in the state of Kansas. Due to the horse population, Minnesota's number of directors will be reduced by 1. Therefore, the vacancy left by Kelvin Childers, who moved from Minnesota, that position will not be filled. The elevation of Debbie Brim and Rick Schiffler to Director Emeritus results in open positions in both the states of Nebraska and Pennsylvania. The increase in horse population in the state of Texas made a second position available here in our backyard. Larry Lemke and Judy Horton's elevation to Director Emeritus created vacancies in Wisconsin and Wyoming as well. And the increase in horse population in Saskatchewan created a new position there, north of the border. Sad news brought to us this year since our last convention was the loss of AQHA Director Emeritus Stuart Sprouse of Sandy, Utah, and Honorary Vice President Joe Young of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Stewart was a 20-year cumulative breeder and an AQHA Life member. Stewart served on the Racing Committee, the Youth Committee, the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and the Nominations and Credentials Committee. He became an AQHA Director in 1998 and elevated to Director Emeritus in 2008. Joe became an AQHA Board of Director in 1994 and an Honorary Vice President in 1996. He served on AQHA's Amateur Committee and the Nominations and Credentials Committee. Joe was also an AQHA Life member. Please join me this morning in a moment of silence to remember these fine gentlemen and the service that they provided our industry. Thank you. In summary, the changes on AQHA Board of Directors for 2016 include 15 positions being open, one each for California, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Dakota, Washington, Alaska, West Virginia, Alberta, Brazil, and Venezuela. All other elected directors indicated they will be seeking re-election of their respected one-year term. As a reminder, again today, please wear your badges throughout convention to attend any meetings. And directors, we will be taking roll by scanning your badges at the board meetings. In order to be counted present, you will need to be scanned in for both board meetings and remain in the room once your badge has been scanned. If your badge has not already been scanned, please get with one. If your badge has not already been scanned, please get with one of the ladies outside the door because we'll be starting the Board of Directors meeting immediately upon the conclusion of this general membership meeting. Now I'll pass the mic back to Sandy to conclude this morning's general membership meeting. Sandy?
Thank you, Craig. If there are no objections, this meeting is adjourned.